Hello, Reese. How are you doing, gamer? Getting the first game loaded up here just so I can remove time controls and spoilers and then go through draft quick. Alright. Jail. Okay, we should be all set up here. I will turn down Trevor's nice music for the draft and stuff. Let's see. Should be the right one. Yeah, alright. So, going over the CLG vs. 1 series, I think both teams are... I mean, we'll bring up the actual... I'll just bring up the in-game one because it shows their standings so far, and both of them have very respectable standings so far. And I think both these teams just have really great potential. Obviously, one being the basically returning champions of last season, just changing out one member. And yeah, they haven't had as stellar of a season as they probably wanted so far, but honestly, last season they started off kind of rough, and then in the second half they just took off and basically, only dropped one game in playoffs, and other than that, they just swept through that and were on an absolute tear. So it seems like they're kind of starting to come back to it, and hopefully we can see that return to form. And I think there's also just really tough competition this season, so I think, just part of it's due to that too. But then on the side of CLG, you've got, kind of some new players. Only, like Gainlinker was here the entirety of last season. Moonlight kind of joined in at the end for COG. And then we've got, Reese, who's just been, I got the draft pulled up so we can mention it, because we already see it, of course, but I'm sure that cinches him. I've been playing with him a bit, and I like to see that, so I like to see the spicy picks. I mean, it could be Michael Gainlinker up there on the Singe, but I know, I've played with Reese a few times in the last week or so, and got a few Singed games in, and it's just a fun champ to watch. Probably not the funnest to go against, because you're kind of just you versus your minions the whole time while Singe goes and does his thing. But basically, both sides got a lot of good players, and I think a really high potential ceiling, if everyone's playing at their best. So should be an absolutely good series to watch, and we'll just get into draft then. CLG starts off by banning Anivia. I think that's just almost required unless she's in a terrible state against one. Vixparian's Anivia is super good, and that champion can just kind of make things feel really miserable and can definitely stall out games very well, which I think benefits one in a lot of matchups. So he is actually not in this one. Yeah, I really am excited to see how Zoe performs in the game one here. But, so Anivia kind of necessary against Vix, and just an annoying champ, stalls out games really hard. Followed up by Silas ban, I believe played in the jungle as well, but I know Tom likes it mid, so banning that away from CLG. Amumu banned from CLG against one. Actually, and I could be wrong on this, but I know played in the jungle a lot. Fusro does for one. I'm not sure if they played as much support. But that's followed up by the Gangplank ban. Hate to be gassing him up here, because I know he's in chat and don't want him to get too full of himself, but Reese's Gangplank's pretty freaking scary. I don't want to go against it, that's for sure. If I was top, I'd be like, hey, can we maybe not, so I don't get, one-tapped by barrels? Yeah. But then the Vex, which is actually interesting. Vixparian plays it very well. This is a watch party. Yeah, this happened during that cluster of series on Sunday night. But trying to get them out of the way sooner rather than later. I'm not sure if this is the last one or if there's one or two more. I think there's maybe one more after this, but Vex not exactly like an S tier pick or an OP pick right now, but you have people pilot it really well, and if you know it's going to be good into your team, then That champion's pretty scary and has the reset potential in fights. Followed up by a Jinx ban from 1, which I hope it doesn't become this, but I've seen Organized play a lot. Jinx just got buffs, and they actually were impactful. You know, I think she saw a couple % rise in her win rate, which she's got a decent lane. She scales like crazy. She's got pop-up potential in team fights. Ends up becoming... We've had beer league seasons before where it is either, like for the whole season basically, it's either be willing to blue 1 pick Jinx or you just have to ban it, and normally red side's forced to ban it. I hope it doesn't become that. So far I don't think it is, but I could very easily be proven wrong on that. That's probably just me being optimistic that I don't have to ban Jinx every time on red side. But yeah, then they pick Xayah, probably, especially the Jinx being banned, probably the S tier AD carry, but then they take away the Rakan and pick it with Kog'Maw. Though, and I don't support, but Andrew, my support, says that Xayah is actually pretty good into Rakan because, he has to dive in and she can pull those feathers back. And if he goes in to engage, if she has 6, she can go up and ult and get out of it. So it is a takeaway, but I'm not sure if it's the best choice because Rakan's a good champ in his own right. But yeah, if you're going into Xayah, who is good into those engages. Unless you just really don't want the combo, the Xayah Rakan. But yeah, Rakan Kog'Maw's solid. Followed up by the Jarvan Seraphine. I think that's a really good combination. We're kind of cheating here because I'm going to look down and see Annie. Granted, Seraphine and Annie are interchangeable. They could both be support or mid, but I'm going to guess that's support Seraphine with the Jarvan jungle. Jarvan Annie's disgusting because Jarvan ults one, and then while they're stuck in there, you just throw Tibbers in there. And right now there's 2 people on the enemy team that can reliably get out of... Okay, I'd say 1 person that can reliably get out of the Jarvan ult without flash, because the Drawn EQ, if Jarvan's in there, will just hit him more than likely. So most of those people are just going to be stuck in there and blown up, unless Annie gets really behind. But even if she's behind, their burst together is realistically going to one-shot anyone that's name isn't Sejuani or Udyr. Yeah, Seraphine's good. And I actually like the Seraphine with the Singed, because Singed likes to just sprint at him, and you can use Singed to kind of projectile that ultimate forward that goes further every time it hits an allied or enemy champion. So you can use Singed to just get really good engages, and then he just goes moving through Mach 7. But yeah, then the Victor picked up by 1 for their last Phase 1 bans that I know have bounced around a little bit. Sorry about that, but we'll go into round 2 bans. 1 leads it off with Olaf. You haven't seen the top laner yet. Technically, it could be Jarvan, but people haven't really been playing that lately. And that's a good ban. Reese is really good on it, and I figured... Oh, they haven't picked their top laner yet, but I mean, I suppose if you have something in mind that you want to play, Olaf does shred tanks, and you probably do want a little bit of frontline, so totally fair. Followed up by the Wukong ban by CLG. Likely for jungle, though I don't... Do they play it? I suppose. I know Donovan has played it, but I don't know if he's been playing it lately. But probably for the jungle. I know Wukong's really good in the jungle right now. Followed up by an Ahri ban by 1. You haven't seen the mid laner for sure yet. Again, it could technically be Seraphine, but that's not exactly a Tom champ. Granted, they could flex rolls too, but yeah, I don't see that being the thing. And then Kayn for the last ban from CLG. You don't see the jungler yet. And Kayn, though traditionally not the best in the organized 5s, unless he is just really strong, just because he is in that weird spot where he has to take fights early. He has to kind of force scraps, and unlike solo queue, there isn't perma-fighting normally in competitive or organized games because people aren't playing as risky. They know their teammates probably aren't gonna troll them, so they don't feel like they have to carry, and they aren't taking fights all the time. So Kayn can be in that weird limbo where he doesn't have form, and it's like 18 minutes, then he feels useless, and then other teams already on like 3 dragons, and you have to fight for every drake from then on. But if you get rolling on him, he just rolls everyone. So then 1 picks up Udyr, technically a flex still, and then we have the Singed Annie coming out, which I do like to see the Singed. I think that's just a fun pick. We'll see how it works out for him. And then the Sejuani last pick, which again, this could be flexes, still, I'm still not 100% sure. Admittedly, I was talking to Donovan a bit about this series, but I haven't looked at Draft 2 yet because I want to be not 100% sure. And I know that he plays both of those top, and I believe Fusro would play either of those in the jungle. So, yeah. Let's see. Sorry, now that I'm done with that, I'll look at chat here quick. Reese, yeah, dude, I gotta gas you up. You're a bit of a gamer. Is the one guy who hasn't eaten rice here. Yeah, I don't know. See me no mas here. We gotta get that guy some rice, though. I think he's on principle at this point probably not gonna eat any. You know, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he has to calm down here. Yo, Ox. Talk about delicious. I just love rice. Rice is so good. Here for the Singed, staying for the Victor. Yeah, you know, Singed is exciting, but what's more fun than watching Victor ult to clear waves until he's able to team fight later? Nothing says fun like lasering down every wave and having zero interaction. Anyway, let's actually get into the game here. Rice equals fun. Yeah, Chipotle rice is sublime. I agree. Alright. I will pause the Trevor music here. So we're getting into game. Alright. Already Mad Ping's going out for that 5 point. Looks like they don't want any smoke level 1, which I don't disagree with. And he starts with one of the changes, which I don't think was one of the big reasons she flew up in popularity so much. It was more so buffs to her shield and how that operates, but as well as I think a little bit of base damages, but they might have pulled those back. But the reason Annie, you know, one of the quality lives she got basically was just that she starts with her passive stacked. Seraphine is not playing the game currently. There we go. But yeah, so sometimes I can catch you off guard. You'll get stunned level 1. Not too much follow up unless Cinch started E, but still, I think you're totally fine just doing standard start here on both teams. Foostro letting them know I'm at your mom's base already. That's important, but he is giving away key information. I'm not too sure if I was his captain, I'd be kind of having some words there. I don't think you should be letting them know so early on exactly where your location is. Names instead of champs? Alright. Let's see. I haven't changed this in forever. There we go. A little trade level 1, but Kog'Maw isn't quite there. Just going to be pretty even trade. Pretty standard start. It looks like Sejuani will be pathing down, and actually Jarvan will be pathing down as well. It is the fabled bot meta, so people try to get that rolling pretty quick here. I have seen a lot of Jarvans just start bot side and then immediately level 2 gank, though. That is kind of predictable if you do it a lot, so you know, you can already see one has this ward down here to cover for that. I think that's getting more and more common when you're red side into like a Jarvan that wants to just level 2 gank you. So, yeah. Pretty standard runes, I'd say, across the board so far that I'm seeing. I'm not 100% sure. It's Conquer on Udyr, which I think is either that or Phase Rush into the... Or for the, I'm assuming Phoenix Dance at the Dorn's Ring start. Though Conquer is probably, I mean, you're going to be stuck fighting more than likely. I mean, if you proc Phase Rush, but you're in the Jarvan, all you're going to do is move really fast in a circle. Yeah, last week, exactly. You did that on Silas, and but I think, again, with that being more common these days, people are going to start looking out for it, and people start doing wards like that. Obviously, you could have, like, clever pathing and stuff, too, to get around it, or just, you know, support tries to start sweeper, but then does that make it too obvious and stuff? The Ghost coming out of the Udyr does not want to be flipped, though. I'm not sure exactly the mana cost on that spell right now, but probably been close. Otherwise, just kind of farming up. Healing up with the... It's not Turtle Stance anymore, is it? It's... Where is that one, Turtle? There's Phoenix... No. Boar, but this skin makes it look like a turtle still, right? Or is Boar the... Whatever. Boar might be the... No, Ram Stance is the stun. See, I think it is Boar. Yeah, Boar is E. That's what I thought. Jarvan up a lot of CS right now, actually. Though, Sedge did just pick up the bot crab. pretty soon here, we're probably going to see Singe no longer actually playing the lane. EQ goes a little short, but I think that's fine. Still gets out the flash and doesn't take any turret shots. He can get a return gank, especially with Jarvan hitting 6 likely well before that flash is back up. All but a guaranteed kill if they play it right. Unless Sedge does a nice counter gank too, though. Reese picking up the boots, but more importantly, the Dark Seal. Potentially the most, you know, gold effective item. Or at least the, that and its upgrade, of course. Yeah, so, yeah, they just changed his... When they reworked it, they changed it to, like, match the Freljordi and Demigods. I'll hold that thought. Sejuani gank going in mid. Tom's going to have to burn his flash, likely. Unless Reese just comes thanging in. Gets the Sejuani passive off of him, I believe. Tom does go back in. He does have to flash then, but he gets some damage out. Reese flashing over first blood to the Singe. 2 stacks on that Dark Seal, already showing how the item is just the strongest item in the game, easily. Yeah, Reese is pretty happy with that. Burns goes, Burns flash, but does pick up that early kill. Is able to get up there in time to pick up some of this XP at least. And a couple of the minions gold-wise as well. Really nice roam there. Really big CS lead in the jungle. And then actually a decent one down bot for Kog'Maw. So 600 gold lead over to CLG so far, but I think, a big chunk of that is obviously that 400 gold first blood with the assists on it. But yeah, good CSing around the board too. Kog'Maw, I think, is kind of making up a good chunk of, I guess 200 gold, but yeah, that's a good chunk of the difference for now. Yeah, but yeah, since the Udyr rework now, it's I think it is Bear stance, but that's like your Q, and it's like Volley Bear Claws. Your W is Boar stance, which I feel like is like Bristle, like the Sejuani Boar. But I don't think that's a demigod, so I'm not sure on that. Maybe I just don't know the lore there. And then he is Ram stance after Ornn. And then ours Cryo Phoenix stance for Anivia. So now's that spot where Victor's going to have to be careful here. We see Annie has level 6. No flash on the Victor, so... Annie did burn hers, but if we can get a Jarvan gank before that Victor flashes up, and this is why it's important to track summer spells. Oh, they are going for the Drake. It's a little risky, but unless the lanes start roaming, that should just be free. He's running in, gets the flip. The grounded. The fight's actually going pretty evenly, though it's tough to tell a Singe because then eventually he just runs away. He's got his ulti thing in there. Both of them are healing up pretty good. Shield's coming out, flipped. That is the Udyr Ghost trying to just get out of there. Oh god, if he gets another flip, but now he's getting slowed with the R. The Udyr Ghost going. And he doesn't choose to follow up because Victor has the inside track there and get there a little quicker. And we're probably up to 2v1. The Iron Boar, it's the god Tryndamere worships. Yeah, I don't know, I kind of stopped paying attention to the lore. Like, oh, here's that gank I was talking about right before his flash comes back up. They are going to have to tank some turrets, but it looks like he should go down. Nice kill over to them. Very good timing on that. Fight going out bot lane. Gets the exhaust out in the cleanse out of Kog'Maw. This is going to be a little sketchy. There's a decently stacked wave. Luckily, Sejuani is hovering down here. I don't think I'd go for the fight here. If I was them, I would just be like, hey, hover so I can farm. Well, I'm wrong because Sedge apparently does insane damage. Just about one-shot that person, so... That could have went really bad. If Cog does die there, then you just miss so much, and that feels terrible. But really well done by one to pick up the double there. I like that his Seraphine X is not playing the Seraphine. That's fun. Looks like more than likely the Demonic Embrace coming out of Udyr. That's a pretty typical first item you see these days with the Cryo Phoenix stance. You just get Demonic Embrace and then tank up from there. I believe Jock shows the most common mythic. And then, yeah, just full tank. Jarvan's going Lethality. I don't hate it. I think it's good, but I also think Tank Jarvan's just really solid. Reese gets another kill, up to 4 stacks on the Dark Seal. Little trades back and forth mid. Nice one over for Vixperian on the Victor. Gets the better of that one. Annie, there's not too much you can do outside of just click your buttons and hope your stat checking works, but yeah. Victor is, of course, an excellent champion for just lane trades like that, where you just Q, get the damage and the shield from it, and just pop all your abilities. First Drake did go to 1, so, I mean, we got the 500 gold lead over for CLG, but, you know, the Dragon more than makes up for that in stats. And then, we got Cloud Soul coming up in about a minute 50. Reese is Singed Gaming currently. Flips him into the wall right out of the rift. Flash goes, but there's Vixperian as well. They go in. Oh, this is going to be a really nice cross-map play, though. Yeah, Singed goes down, but at what cost? You end up dropping the Kog'Maw. There is no Dragon for a minute 35, so that's all that's really going to happen is a 1-for-1 across the map. But that is a good reaction. You know, you're getting a play made on you on the one side. Go and try to make one on the other. With 80 Bruiser Q max, I think it is stronger in lane. And also if you're Trick 2G who plays thousands of games of Udyr, I think this is the easier to play one, and also the it's certainly a lot easier to be like effective in team fights and a good frontliner, and I think that's what's kind of important here. But I definitely think the 80 Bruiser one's like really solid. I know for a while when they first buffed it up, when he got reworked, it was like an absurd win rate in jungle for like, I think it was just lethality. Yeah, definitely. I think it could bring some good balance, because you're right, they are heavy magic damage. Sejuani does at least 50%. I mean, her W, I believe, is physical, but I think the rest is just magical from her. Her W is a good chunk of her damage, but still. And then obviously Victor's full magic damage, Rakan's full magic damage, and the Kog'Maw actually does a decent amount of split damage, especially since it looks like Rage Blade first. Gonna go into that on hit. You can do a crit Kog'Maw. I mean, it's not like bad, and maybe this game you'd want to, but obviously he does benefit a lot from being able to go the almost tankier and more on hit setup. But yeah, I think in this game specifically, 80 could have been a good look. You're never really going to be able to interact with Singed on either builds realistically, but 80 does shred turrets, but you're never going to have a wave because Singed is going to be just in your base taking them half the time. Setting up for the Drake here. Both teams are looking. Udyr does have teleport if need be, but it's not unleashed yet, so it'd have to be on one of the turrets. He is running, but CLG is on it. They're just going to be able to burn it down, I believe, before any response. One goes to shove waves. This is the first Drake in its cloud, but we'll see what Soul is going to be spawning this game after this is taken. It looks like it's going to be an Ocean map in Soul. Honestly, I think Ocean's just a really solid Soul in general, but I think this game especially, because if you're not dying from the Victor burst, the fights are probably going to go pretty long, especially if you're someone like Singed. Well, Jarvan's going lethality, so maybe not, but if he was like a Gore Drinker or Tank Jarvan, you know, the fights would be going long, you'd be getting a lot of value out of that. Excited to see the Cog cooking mid to late. Yeah, I love watching Kog'Maw. Looks like it was a flash for ult trade. Annie's going to take that every day of the week, and Annie's also got the cooldown setup rolling, so that ult's going to be back not long after Tibbers goes down, just from old age, you know. And grounded on the Udyr. The Singed does have Rylai's. They both ghost, however, Singed just singed all over the place. Now he's getting slowed from the Phoenix stance. Here comes the Jarvan to ult. Reese is in there. He gets the flip. They both go down, though. So, honestly, you know, when you're getting ganked and you still take 1-for-1, and Jarvan's almost dead, too. Like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say worth on that one. Yeah, that ain't bad. Victor does teleport in, collects the wave, and pushes it out. However, that means Annie gets to push in that wave, and it drops the turret. And they're making a play bot just for some, zoning them off a wave and getting some plates down here. I think this is, like, really underrated when junglers just, like, you don't need to get a kill for a gank to be effective, right? You can literally just come down here if you see their jungler on the other side and go, alright, well, there's 2 or 3 waves stacked up, and now you guys are out of XP range and can't farm them. So even though we're not killing you, like, we just denied so much XP and gold just from me sitting here. So that's one way you can gank, more or less, is just exist there and be threatening. People are gonna chat anymore. I'm just gonna turn that off. Red buff looks like it's going over to Xayah, who does have her mythic here. Reese getting collapsed on by 4. He's trying to move, but he just can't, so he's gonna go down. However, that drew enough pressure where his team could get their own red buff in their own jungle, so I think that might be worth it. Tom flashing in. Oh my god, massive shields and heals coming out. A little ambitious, I think. I don't think you have the burst to kill Udyr there. So yeah, you just go down. Really well played by my boy Gentle Criminal, Donovan. Tom a little ambitious on that one. Also my boy, but you can't be doing that one. Udyr, tanky boy. We do have second rift coming up in 50 seconds here. And Drake in 1:15 now. Red going over to Sejuani. Thought I DC'd for a second there, but she's just kind of standing there waiting for the Q. Kind of a... not exactly a slow-paced game by any means, but most of the deaths are just kind of like weird little fights or Reese being inside of their base and 4 people walking up to him. Curious to see how they keep handling the Singed and how Reese keeps deciding how to play it. I think if he's matched up with Victor, he's going to clear out another wave or so. And then if he stays up here and Victor stays up here, he might try to start proxying again. He's died a few times from it, but I think you have a tough time just laning against Victor as Singed at this point in the game, at least. Protein balanced? I don't think I get that. I'm probably just dense. Udyr's hovering here. It's getting low. He's in there, doing a lot of damage to that burn, but he's getting CC'd up. His team's not committing quite yet. The Seraphine ulti hits the Kog'Maw. He cleanses. Nunya's in there. He's going to go down. This should be one's Drake. However, Reese is getting some turrets up there. Oh, Vic's flashing in. Almost picks up one. He might be able to queue off those Krugs and gain move speed if he has the Q evolve, but it looks like he backs off. They're going to get that Drake for sure. And Reese is still just Singed gaming up there. He goes, I don't care. It's their second Drake. I'm just going to... Oh, and then that's the Victor teleport to get him off of there. But you can see here, he's just like, okay. Again, I'm not going to actually lane against him. I'm just going to lane behind him. And it's going to be me versus his minions and him versus my minions. And that's just how it's going to be. Oh, yeah. Duh. Chuck show. What mythic you gonna go on Singe these days? I'm trying to think of what I've been seeing. Is it Jockshow? I feel like it wouldn't be, just because you'd maybe not even be by them when it procs, but maybe it is just because you're for sure gonna be in combat for a while. I know Leandry's used to be a thing, kind of, but it doesn't provide any tankiness. More burn, but you don't really need it. It's good on Samira. I've heard. I've seen it, you know? Victor says thanks for the leash. We do have Baron come in 30 seconds. This is when the games tend to start going off, you know. One bad fight can mean a lot bigger difference after that 20-minute mark. This peak top lane gameplay, they are just walking around with their burn moves. Okay. I mean, Reese is on 2 items, but I don't know. Seems pretty even. Yeah, with Deathcap third, but I mean, you got to use all that AP that Jockshow is giving you. Really buffs up the Samira AP ratios too. I'm just saying, you build Lichbane and Nashers on anyone, and they have AP ratios, so. So the mid laners are finally matching each other again. Just kind of, well, they probably haven't for a little bit, but we've been watching down with the top laners. But Experian on the Victor, coincidence? No. He picked it. It wasn't really a coincidence, he just kind of picked it. It was like a choice that he made, I think. I've seen this build. I think even Fusro, when he subbed for, I believe it was MDC just yesterday, I think it was, or yeah, maybe, I think it was yesterday. He had a similar build on the Jarvan with the Eclipse, Hex Drinker, and I believe like Black Cleaver or whatever. Again, I don't think it's a bad build by any means. It might even be the best one, I don't know, I don't play him currently. Big fight coming out. Looks pretty one-sided for CLG though, just gonna blow them up. Really low health on Reese, and he's just going to go in and tank the Baron quick. Quadra kill for the Annie. Just Annie game. He throws down the Tibbers. He just runs around and burns everyone with Leandry's. Real solid fight out of CLG. And they actually take the gold lead. They've been down on gold for basically this whole game. That's definitely huge for them, because they want to be able to start getting a lead and stacking Drakes, or at least stopping the Drake stack. Getting some of the standing gold out here, and that's a big swing to them. And I don't think they necessarily have any sort of scaling advantage. I think both the teams kind of play fights differently, so it's tough to say like a distinct scaling advantage, because Annie's going to try to one-shot your Jarvan. Xayah, of course, is good sustained damage, and Seraphine and Singed are good for the engage. Whereas, you know, one kind of is more of a front to back, just wants to fight you with like a nice Sejuani or Rakan engage, but yeah, I don't know. It's traditionally, I think, the scaling would be on the side of one, but yeah, I think both these teams just want to play the fights a little differently, so it's a little tough to say definitively who would have the scaling advantage. I like the force of nature out of Sejuani. Really good into the Singed, into Leandry's Annie, and of course a little bit into Seraphine. Moonlight getting caught out, Jarvan going in and getting a good chunk of damage. However, he's going to go down. I believe that's Reese in there. Just this fight, he actually does have his Q on. He's been known a time or two to just not turn on that ability for style points. He's getting real low here, but he's still in the fight. He's going to flip Fusro. They go down. Oh, just barely whiffing on the Victor. He flashes out of the Annie stun. Xayah is kiting, but he's going to go down. Reese with another flip. The burn. Tom says, thanks, I'll take it. And heal up from the Seraphine W. That might just be it. It's 3 for 2 overall. Does take up some of the Baron time, however, if they can't use it for much. but they're going to be able to likely pick up this Drake off of it and probably pick up that bot tier 1. Do see the Giant's Belt on the Kog'Maw. Very popular these days to have him go into a tank item third. Could be the Randuin's. You see that a lot with the Giant's Belt. I mean, Xayah is a crit champ, but that's the only one. Health's obviously going to be good to not die from one shot from the Annie, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say it'd be the best item here. Especially you got Singed into Annie with % max health burn because of their items now too, so stacking too much health isn't going to do a ton, but also if you don't have any, I mean, Annie's just going to one-shot you, Jarvan's going to one-shot you, so it's a tough one to play out. I'm curious if we can see the Cog ruins here. So he does have overgrowth at least. I think that's really good on Kog'Maw these days. Bit of bonus health, so that'll help him out a little bit to avoid getting the one shot. You do of course have Guardian Rakan to try to shield you up as well. So he's got some tools there. And certainly has the damage. No full tanks. I mean, Sinch is building a lot of health and he's building into that tank mythic right now. That'll finish up soon here, but 2 of those items provide no resists, just HP and AP. Looks like we're going to see an Abyssal Mask coming out for Udyr as a third item, because he already has his Mythic, so it's obviously not a Rod of Ages, and I don't believe people are building that on Udyr anyways. And I think that's good, because as we were talking about earlier, their team does have a lot of magic damage, so you're going to be taking some of the MR off of them and giving it to yourself, and their team has a good amount of magic damage as well, so very solid item choice. Looks like Jarvan is going more damage for his third item. He's only got 2 deaths, so he's doing good playing around being a squishier build. Just something to note there, that he is, you know, against like a couple of really good late game carries and that Victor and Kog'Maw where they can shred, which maybe that's his point is, well, Kog'Maw's going to shred me anyways, no matter how tanky I am, so maybe I'll just try to one-shot the Cog first. Got the second Baron coming up in 50 seconds. The 5th Drake coming up in 2 minutes and 5. Hopefully we'll see some action around the Baron here. Xayah getting the, looks like going to complete the full Mauve Malmortius. Either that or that's just the Hex Drinker stop into, you know, the Caulfield's does go into Navori Quick Blades, which is a very, very solid Xayah item. So I would like to see that Caulfield's go into Navori before finishing the full Ma, because Victor does do a ton of damage and they have a lot of magic damage, but that Navori is going to be such a big spike for you, and I think that Wit's End, as well as good positioning and Seraphine watching, you know, helping you out, and even Annie's shield, you should be able to play out these fights fine without finishing that Ma, and the fact that you're Xayah, who has her ult and cleanse, so unless you miss position, I don't think you get one shot, as long as you have that Hex Drinker, so yeah, I'd like to see the extra damage. Ward's going everywhere, Pink's going everywhere, the Baron setup's coming, and Annie's bot does have teleport up. No one's bought from the side of 1 to match it, but Annie probably just walking up here. We do have Drake in 40 seconds here. A flank from Sejuani, however, doesn't... Oh no! Misses the rooted Sejuani. It's unfortunate, you hate to see it, but it happens. A flank from the Singe, just running through, cooking him. And then you got Tibbers in there cooking them, and they're stuck in the Jarvan. Oh, this is that combo. Even without the Singe, that's disgusting, but then you have Singed Poison just sitting in there with it, too, and it's just rough. It's just really rough. So, triple kill over to the Annie. Really well played by the whole team, though, to make that happen. Just locking them up. Then they're getting burnt by, like, 4 different things. Tibbers, Singed Poison, Demonic Embrace, Leandries, so... Should be a free Baron over to the side of CLG. Yep, Gentle Criminal is just going to farm the bot wave, because if you go in to do anything there, it's just giving him another free kill. The Drake's up. Could potentially have been trying to do that, but I think by the time he gets there, yeah, then they're going to already be over there, so I think that's just also sketchy. Has to wait for the team, and I don't know if they're going to make it in time. Probably not. Annie and Jarvan are gone, though, however, so... Nah, with them stopping at Wolves, that's going to be a free Drake. They probably just assumed they're already going to have it dead by now, so... Now you can see Sed just starting to move over, but... Just, it's not impossible, but yeah. Singe's Natural Smite always gets it, has the 10 stacks on Dark Steel, so basically full build. 10 stacks on the Majais, oh my god. He's done it. Player of the week. I don't care. He did the 10 stack Majais on Singed. Give it to him. Man after my own heart. So again, one scaling up well. I'm curious what the Victor's runes are as well. He does have the Gathering Storm. So he's scaling up. With a couple members being tanky on there, I don't mind the Lichbane build. However, I think this game, especially because you want to go that Death Cap third, I think I'd have went the Void Staff. You're going to be going into double Force of Nature in a little bit here, and you don't have that's just going to be really terrible to go into regardless, but that without a Void Staff, and you're sitting on the Morello, so like you're pretty, you know, you're really in there with you know, slot locking yourself kinda. So they are going on Reese, however he's just gonna walk away. But yeah, I think that would have been, I know it feels like kind of bad to get Void Staff second to a lot of people, but honestly the item just functions very well throughout the game. Like, it's just a pretty efficient item. Fight going out, Jarvan ult kind of just to get out of there. However, it looks like Seraphine is locked up trying to help out. Reese is running, he gets stunned up too. He's not going down quite yet, but the shutdown going to the Kog'Maw is huge. A nice pullback there. They take down the Sejuani. Udyr's getting low. He's going to go down. Double kill over to the Jarvan. He's still healthy. Tibbers is in there just burning him. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Just look at Tibbers, man. He's basically 1v2ing back there. This is where the Victor's just strong, but, you know, it's... Xayah does have the Hex Drinker. I believe that was actually popped earlier, but Victor kind of blows cooldowns onto the Annie and then just doesn't have anything in the tank to deal with Xayah. One's decently behind, but certainly nothing insurmountable. Hopefully they can make something happen for the next Drake fight, because giving over the Ocean Souls is going to make these fights very difficult for them. They do not quite have the burst. I mean, especially to those two Force of Nature users, like, they're going to have a really tough time killing Singed if they get the Ocean Soul. So it's the Titanic that finished up a while ago for the Kog'Maw, but now he is going into the actual AD carry mythic. Likely going to be... Well, it's tough to tell. I think I would do Kraken Slayer, just because, again, I think a lot of the onus is on you to be able to cut through these people who are going to be magic resist stacking, and you're the only one that can really deal with it. And you do have, like, Rakan to try to help you not get one shot. You do have your Overgrowth, and now the Titanic for some health, and yeah. I'd really like to see the Kraken personally, especially with the Rage Blade to help pump up the damage with it. Potential catch onto the Xayah, however, CLG's just sitting there waiting for him. Gets the ult onto the Kog'Maw, who flashes out of it. Reese zooms in, flips him back in. However, Kog'Maw's pumping, he gets charmed. He cleanses it, but might just be getting hit with the wallet here. Gentle Criminal trying to make something happen in the back, but unfortunately they have 3 members to be able to just turn and fight him. Living for a long time. He CC moves his way out of there. Might get ran down later, but Reese is over here just singed gaming on him. That's all it is. Oh, except for he sold the Magi, so no longer player of the week, honestly. But I guess he did all right still. Just flip. This is just funny. Singe is just ridiculous. They do finally pick up the Udyr and then the Rakan in the mid lane. And that's just Singed, you know? You're like, oh, he's so low, we can get him. And then you can't, and then you die for it. So should be a free Ocean Soul over to CLG. One's definitely got their work cut out for them if they want to pull this one back. Baron up in 12 seconds, and Singe could realistically just perma-tank it, especially with Seraphine there. Not take anything, so yeah. They gotta be real careful. Catching out the Sedge, but Reese just in there, clearing up the vision. With the Sejuani passive, she cannot be slowed, so the Singed goop on the ground doesn't really do anything until you can remove that. Annie's stun ready. Reese just flying, and they do break that passive there. They get her trapped in there, gonna flip her back. Looks like this is probably it. Really good fight from CLG, really good catch. Reese just in there. And you can see, like, now with this Ocean Soul, they already couldn't, but now they really can't kill him. I wonder if it's going to be a Penta for Tom, because Tibbers is chasing down Rakan over there. Nope, Xayah gets that one, however. Oh, Reese just decides, you know, that's enough Singed for me. I'm out of this one. So, good luck, team. This one's looking too doomed. I get it, though. I wouldn't want to finish this one either. It's just too tough. Getting that mid-inhib. With the death timers, there's a good chance it's just over right here. Nunya just tanking up the turrets himself. I think that's... I don't think he had to die, but I think it was a good choice to tank for the minions. They should be able to just finish it up. So really well played from CLG. Both sides doing very well, but really pop-up performance from Tom in the mid lane. Of course, the team enabling that as well with the 27 out of 28 kill participation on the Jarvan, which is, you know, obviously you get some of that. You can throw a flag. It gives a buff to your allies, and that still counts, gives you an assist. But I didn't see a lot of that. I saw a lot of just really getting involved in fights, making things happen. So both of those scorelines looking really good. Reese involved with 21 of the kills, which... for being Singed, that's pretty good. A lot of times he's involved with like 1 of the 28 kills in like 10 of the deaths, but you know, making it work. Whole team looking really good. One, you know, I think draft maybe a little less, you know, one-sided on the damage, you know, type with a lot of that heavy magic damage. Made itemization very easy for the side of CLG with the Maw coming out for Xayah, making her really tough to kill. And then, of course, the Maw and Force of Nature Merc Treads on Jarvan. The Force of Nature is basically just enough on Singed with the Jock Show, and he's just running around. So definitely consider that when you're drafting out there. And yeah, we'll see what the drafts look like for Game 2. Oh, thank you. And I'm pretty tired, so I feel like the cast isn't that excellent, but I appreciate it. No, I think it was absolutely really good Wombo comp, and yeah, my friend Greg was in here earlier asking if the guy who hasn't ate rice is here, so he'd be happy to know you are. All right, let's see. I will pull up second draft. So, all right. Game two, it looks like they start off with a Silas ban on the side of one. Again, a flex pick and just a pretty dang strong pick in general right now. And Tom and Will, none of your business, and Bungrud. Uh, both play it very well. So, followed up by the Anivia ban. Again, just kind of like a respect one into one because Vixperian's very good at the champ. I think she's in a perfectly good spot right now. I think the champion would have to be in a pretty miserable state for it to not be worth throwing a ban at them for it because he's pretty nuts on the champ. And then Jinx on the blue side, which is interesting. I haven't seen enough data yet, but traditionally when Jinx is good, she's really good. And then it's kind of up to red side to ban her. Otherwise, you can just pick her blue one. And I'm a little surprised, but also I don't have enough. Yeah, I'm not positive where her power level is right now, and maybe that's just But then CLG sees that and immediately bans Xayah, which I think is smart because they're probably going to try to B1 Xayah if they're banning Jinx. So that's just a good response. Then the Jarvan, they had a really good performance on it. Like I said, I believe it was the 27 out of 28 kill participation. Really solid. Very, very good game from Will on none of your business. And then the Udyr ban from CLG. So they thought, yeah, that was a bit of a problem. And especially, we talked about that was pretty heavy magic damage team. He is still burning people pretty good and kind of sitting in the back line for a long time. Similar to how Reese is just running around as Singe burning up, the three, backside of the, team fights. He's doing the same thing with the Udyr, but unfortunately, CLG is just able to buy a bunch of MR and didn't go down quite as quickly. So they're able to either kill him or push him off before, Reese was able, to kill people on that side. So yeah, definitely a bit of a problem. Just going to get rid of it. And they end up picking the Amumu B1. I don't think it's a bad pick. However, oh, no. So they do play it. And I was thinking they did, but I couldn't remember for sure. I know Fusro plays at jungle, but looking ahead, it does look like that's going to be as support. So I like that with the MF a lot. But yeah, CLG picks up Karthus, Tristana. Both of those are flex picks. Karthus, if you're feeling extra bold, could be flexed into 4 different roles. Tristana into technically 3, but I'd say realistically 2. So you're not really giving away too much right now. Followed up by the Misfortune goes great with the Amumu, and if you're trying to go into a Wombo comp, those two alone are basically a full Wombo team in themselves. And the Vex, who's got the team fight resets, a strong lane, good into these dash champs, which obviously Karthus isn't. Tristana does jump around a lot, but yeah, and also just a good pick for Vixperian, who's just good on the champion. So definitely a comfort pick. We see the Soraka come out, red 3. Risky into the Amumu because if you do get caught, you can get CC'd up and die pretty quickly. However, just an overall good pick. And actually the E-Silence, very good range on that ability. You can shut down a Misfortune ulti if you're on top of it very, very quickly. So definitely good pick into the Misfortune if you're piloting it correctly. Going into round 2 bans, we see the Malphite coming out from CLG. They see that Wombo farming and they kind of want to stop that as much as they can. So they go ahead and throw out the Malphite ban. One sees that, and granted they banned Olaf last time as well. So this could just be we don't want to play into Reese's Olaf. Or Michael as well. They do flex lanes. So that's not to say that we don't see, I was going to say Gain Linker, but I believe that is his Seraphine X now. So we could see that in the top lane as well, but they just don't want to see the Olaf. It is a frustrating champion to lane against, especially since they have red 5. They could blind it, or not blind it. They could see what they're picking it into before they want to pick it. Followed up by the Wukong ban from CLG, another good Wombo, and they don't have their jungler picked yet, unless they did a Mumu, but a Mumu Misfortune's a very popular lane, so it's a good chance that's going support, and they read that and go, all right, we'll get rid of the Wukong to alleviate a little more of that potential Wombo. Followed up by the last ban being the Gangplank from 1. Again, Reese's Gangplank is scary, so I totally get it. Surprising enough that it was left up in the first place, because it's relatively blindable pick, especially if you were to do like R3 and ban a couple of things to cover it if you needed to. But yeah, then we go into round 2 of picks and we see the Darius. So that's getting blinded. It's very likely you're gonna have to blind your top laner here because yeah. So no, they didn't have to on red side. I was thinking for blue side, but yeah, then followed up by the Set and the Kayn. So we do see the Kayn, which means that Amumu's for sure going bot lane. in the set into Darius. I'm not 100% sure on that matchup. I suppose I feel like it should be relatively even. If Darius goes to Ultra, you should be able to have a bunch of grit stacked up at that point and get a big shield. I'm really not 100% sure on that matchup. Maybe someone in chat can let me know what they think about it. And then the Kayn, it's not bad. I think it's totally fine. But again, he's got that issue where in these organized games, there's a little less scrapping generally. So you can struggle to get that form as early as you'd like to. And then you can end up just being in a spot where you're just. Because Kayn, formless Kayn, early in the game doesn't feel that bad. But formless Kayn when everyone else is, like sitting on their second item or whatever, and they're just like one shot, and it feels pretty bad when you don't have all those extra tools you get from either Shadow Assassin or Rost. So, and then it gets rounded out by Sivir, which I think is a really good pick when you're looking at a relatively shorter ranged mage outside of the Vex Q and alt, and then 3 melees in Misfortunes. She's got good range and whatever, but 3 melees you're gonna be able to ricochet off all of them. So I think Sivir's just in a good spot right now, and can potentially spell shield like a bandage toss or whatever the Vex are even. So I would give it to the CLG draft, I think. Though obviously there's a ton of Wombo on the side of one. I kind of think I would have liked to see, instead of a Kayn, something a little more fitting with the comp. Let's see if there's anything that, speaks to me right away. I mean, you could even have a Vi to set up the guaranteed combo here, or guaranteed Vex R. You could do even like a Zag, but I think he's a little weak right now. The Sejuani looked really good. I mean, if you really wanted, you could rip the Fiddle. I think he's very good right now. You just have to know how to play him. And this time they actually have 2 good sustained forms of physical damage, so it wouldn't have been as big of a deal to have that AP in the jungle. But yeah, that's, Kayn's plenty fine, but I think that would have been a really good way to finish off that comp. And then, yeah, we'll catch up on chat here and then get into the game. Is this a Sivir mid game? I hope so. And I already mentioned Fiddlesticks, so. One draft looking disgusting. Yeah, I think it was really good. I don't see how Kayn fits into it, but I might just be nitpicking. I feel like that matchup would be even, but I haven't played top in like a couple years now consistently. But yeah, I feel like there shouldn't be a huge advantage either way. But let me switch to this so I can pull up that second game without any spoilers. Get loading into that. If my computer lets me. Yeah, you kind of like play around the weaker sides of the fights. I don't think it's like bad. I just think there's definitely better stuff if you're gonna save jungle pick for so late. But also obviously could just be, and likely is just a comfort thing as well. A lot of people like that champion are good at him, and he is a champ where if you're good, you can just roll games. So there's always that factor of it. Like a Kayn could just pop off and just doesn't even matter if he's not optimal for the comp. It just he's just gonna roll the game. But yeah. All right. Let me. Suppose I should update this. All right. Yeah, it does look like it's going to be Blue Kayn with the Dark Harvest. Yeah, I definitely, like I said, I don't think it's bad. I think there's better stuff with how much they're going into the Wombo. But not to say every character on your team has to go into the Wombo. Of course they don't, but yeah, that's obviously what they want to do. So I think having someone that plays into that would be a little better. Yeah, I think Blue Kayn just focused on literally just removing Soraka from the fights is not a bad idea at all. I think that's probably the best way to play the Kayn this game. I'd agree with that. Because, yeah, she will be able to keep pumping those heals out if no one can get her. Luckily, they do have pretty good tools with, again, the F Kane can get Blue Kane early enough and get rolling, and then Unifamu can land a bandage on her, or Vex can land an ultimate on her, dive in. There is a lot of ways to go in on her, but yeah. No level 1 strats, really. I'm just kind of the traditional 5-point. We do see, I always like pointing out on the Karthus jungles, he's got Exhaust instead of Flash. I think that's really important on Karthus jungle, because his weakness is he can get invaded on early, and that can make it kind of miserable. However, that Exhaust alleviates a lot of that stress, because as someone comes and tries to fight you at a camp, you can just exhaust and start hitting them with the Qs. Nice Q land in there. Gotta be careful for the Amumu, though. He's going in. Unfortunately, Q's the minion. They end up taking quite a bit and trades back. Gets the Q. They are going to get a decent trade back. Soraka does have 2 potions, and if she can land the Q, she'll be healing up. Getting dangerously low, though. Also worth pointing out, too, which I figured when I saw the Darius, but it is Michael, X has Seraphine, X up in the top lane this time, and we see Reese down on the Sivir. Him and I both agree Sivir seems to be in a pretty dang solid spot, and I think especially in a game like this with the 3 melees and a mage that's not, at least not an artillery mage, and will likely be getting hit by some of those ricochets. I think you're going to be getting a ton of value out of that pick. Also, you can provide speed for the Darius to just run in. Nice little trade there, however, the Exhaust has to go out to reduce the damage of the explosion on the E. So an early Exhaust blown, and the Tristana's running teleport, so good start from Tom there in the mid lane. Gets a little bit of a trade back with the Kane, but again, he's got teleport, he's still healthy, like he's chilling. Getting the shove in here as expected. Misfortune's got generally no big issues farming under turret. The flash Q, the silence goes out, but the Q is already flying. Gets the flash out of the Soraka, however, she's healing off the Q landing. They're just going to walk it out. They do, however, burn both flashes, but they actually end up down summoners because they burned their flashes in Ignite. So, very well played by the side of the CLG bot lane to get out of that one. That double up does hit both of them, unfortunately, though. Nice trade here, however, you want to start backing up now, because Darius is stacking, and that bleed just does so much. First Drake in 50 seconds. Looks like it's going to be the Chemtech Drake. So, very good Drake for the side of CLG. Decent one. Oh, looks like a gank going up for Darius here. Getting the both the sums out of the set. I'm guessing it's just a matter of Karthus walking up and hitting E or just autoing them. Does get the first blood. Well played from both sides. So close to getting the Darius for the side of one. Karthus helping with the shove before they reset. That set is not running teleport, so he's going to drop most of this wave. A cannon will soak up a good amount of turret shots, so he should hopefully be able to pick up some of it at least, but that does feel bad. Actually, neither top lane are running teleport, which is pretty normal for the Darius to not have it. That champion's just needs Ghost, basically, and generally plays a little greedier in terms of resources and, macro stuff. Yeah, exactly. He just can't afford to go the teleport. Nice trade from Tom on the Tristana. Just jumps out of there. I don't think you can... Oh, we'll watch this fight first. Relatively even trade. I don't think you can see, Kane farm, right? Yeah, they've got no way to... Yeah, they've got no way to see it in Spectator. Wish there's some way to tell, how close he was. CLG ended up winning. Yeah, for for game one, they won that one, and now yeah, we're just getting into the start of the second one here. Yeah, I'd guess about a third, but it was a really well played series by both sides. I'd go check out the end of that one if you get a chance after the stream's over. Oh, Andrew, why don't you ask him? Does that work? It didn't go. It didn't go into the chat. It didn't work. I don't know what to do. Nice pull. Set 6. Darius is 6. This is where I would say Set has to be a little careful. I think Darius has the advantage here. Ults him out of the turret. The nice flash from the Darius, though. Otherwise, that was actually looking pretty dang close. Kayn picks up the Drake with the help of the Amumu. The Vex ult goes out. Gonna be able to get the Fear onto him. Goes in. Arthas picks up the blue buff. Says Worth gets the Kayn flash, I guess. Reset onto there. Goes onto the Soraka. Doesn't have the Fear, though. They're getting very low. Sivert is free firing, but gets exhausted. Nice double kill in the Drake as well. That's really important that they're picking that up since they're getting a little behind here. We see Infernal Drake next, so it's not going to be a Chemtech or Infernal map in Soul this game. Infernal Soul is a lot of fun. Chemtech's just kind of boring stats, but yeah, no, I looked at the Kayn passive ability. It just explained it. I was hoping too that there'd be like it's at 50%, but no. I don't blame Riot though. They're really just, you know, they're starting out. They don't really know what they're doing as a company yet. Really nice assassination from Tom on the Tristana. Just pops the Kayn, who was just kind of taking a nap there. I know. Yeah, no, you definitely can't see it. Yeah, no scanner on the Kayn yet either, which, especially if you're going to be going for the assassin playstyle, you definitely want to be able to clear up that vision and make sure you're not spotted, almost as importantly, if not more importantly. Breaks the bone plating there, gets a little bit of, tiny bit of damage. Fear onto the Tristana, but nothing should be happening there quite yet. Yeah, basically. Well, that's just it, though, too, because, like, if Kayn was scanning there, he wouldn't have died to Trist by just sitting there. Which, I mean, of course, who knows if he would have had scanner at that time, if he would have been using it, but, like, yeah, it's definitely something to look at. Ooh, almost gets pulled over, trying to clear that ward. RP motto. No way this is... I should probably actually talk about the game, but that was funny. Just a chaotic fight, everyone going down. Karthus dies early, but he kind of likes that he can use his full kit, as I like to say, you know. Pay for the full kit, you're going to use the full kit. Both flashes going out. Using those abilities. I think Tom wants it, but oh, this is a little sketchy. Okay, so... Oh, Vix is kind of playing the fire here, too. Stops the recall, but if that Trist jump was up, I don't know, that's sketchy, but the RP motto, no way this is worded right. Ace felt that a lot, like, just throughout the years, just, they were fine, right? They don't know. There's no way they know. Oh, Flash ulti, followed up by the MF ulti. Gonna take down the Soraka. Reese is at least able to walk it out. The slow from Wall of Pain, followed up by some isolated Qs, chunks out the Misfortune, allows Reese to farm this wave without threat of being dove. Again, I think these are like the kind of plays it's nice to see the junglers do, where you know, it's not like flashy. You're not making kills happen, but like you allow your players to farm a wave, or you come in when a big wave's stacked and you deny a wave just by being there. You know, they can't sit there and you see the enemy jungler on the other side of the map, so you know you're not in any danger. So you can just, all right, well we'll push this slow stacked wave up and then just deny it 3 waves of minions, and yeah, we don't kill them, but it's kind of worse than if they did just die and came back and were able to farm it. Tom, I was going to say Tom already on the Kraken Slayer, but we do see the Ludens as well on the Vex. Kraken Slayer for Misfortune. I believe that stopwatch is all timed up, yeah, so nice trade from the Darius. We see the 75 CS, 11.5 minute call. I respect that, though. You're Sivir, you know you're probably going to end the game with like 600 CS. Pretty big CS lead on the top side of the map for CLG between the jungle and the top lane. Really nice player in there and taking out the Soraka. Oh, the Karthus gets the slow. No. Oh, really nice turn with the MF ult, but Karthus can fight when he's dead, and he is just popping people. Vix is fine. Honestly, not even close. Oh. I would just take it. It'd be funny. Yeah. I don't know about the exhaust, but I respect the rest of it. I respect the exhaust, but I don't know about it. I probably wouldn't have done it, but it looked cool. Should be formed now. Beat single longsword buy in this situation. Oh yeah, no, I agree. I love the call buys. I buy that thing all the time. Like I was saying, when I was mid, I just bought Dark Seal all the time. Now I feel like Cull's the closest thing I can get as AD carry. Should have waited for 5. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Tom is very fed here, so let's look at that gold. Up 1,300 against the enemy mid laner. The enemy mid is actually doing quite well, so we do see a sizable gold lead growing overall for CLG as well. They're up, you know, what, basically 2.7k. But despite that gold lead, it looks like the side of one's just gonna get the Drake. Feel like that shouldn't have happened, but maybe I wasn't paying attention to something. Maybe that makes sense, but... And I mean, I think you're totally fine to just sit back and scale for a bit more on CLG, but yeah, I think they probably could have fought that. But it does look like we're getting a mountain map in Sol. Here's what we were talking about with the that Kayn just going to be hunting the Soraka. That I don't think will be enough. Yeah, I was going to say, unless that Arthas is just massive, and I didn't realize it, but War Drinker Darius. Yeah, what's normally built right now? I mean, I think I see Stridebreaker, I've seen Triforce, but there's one that's, is it just Joksha? Is it Boring Hope? I don't think so. I'm forgetting one that's obvious, I think. Is it just Try or Stride? Maybe I'm not forgetting one then. But I feel like there's one other one that... Whatever. I don't play that champ anymore. One, I'm going to pick up this turret. Actually, the first turret, so... Getting some extra gold onto that MF, who is about 1,000 ahead of the enemy AD carry. Well, it depends on which AD carry, though, because they're also 1,000 behind the other enemy AD carry, so... We'll see where this Rift Herald goes down, but it is past any plates being available, so... Yeah. Yeah, the Karthus just wants to get his ulti ranks and get rolling, get his farm rolling. He's basically 50 CS up, so yeah, definitely doing A-okay there. That is concerning with the basically 100 CS difference in the top jungle. A lot of gold down between those two roles. In fact, Karthus is at 7k, almost at the same amount as Tristana. Well, now Tristana's about to jump 300 maybe? No. The if you go from the bottom to the top for the first three scorelines are pretty aesthetically pleasing. Just 2-1-2, 2-1-3, 2-1-4. Kind of climbs up a little bit. Looks for a little assassination on Therese, but he's got his nice spell shield, his ulti. With Kayn coming in though, and the Vex being able to follow up on that ult, he just gets deleted. And he's already, he's in his voice call going, I guess it's just a jungle gap. Yeah. Every game, weak side warrior. Guess I'll buy the call and just split push. Nice W from the Kayn just to do a little poke, but obviously pretty insubstantial in the long run here. We still need to drop that rift somewhere. Clearing up the wave. I don't know if Karthus needs to figure out where they want to drop the Herald here. A nice silence buys a little bit of time, but he's just going to be able to ult in and doesn't even have to. Just goes down. Has the Prowler's Claw. You get Mumu there. So this is the Kayn factor where like you can just get really strong and start rolling people. And it is a good way to remove that Soraka, but yeah. A nice turn, but that Tristana even seems a little tanky. Oh, big shutdown over to the MF though, getting 900 gold. Kayn dies in his ultimate. Flash just barely out of range for the E. Karthus pinging the flash. Karthus, you should be pinging that Rift Herald. Where are you dropping it, boy? Looks like he should be dropping it, bot. Surely. Yeah. Unfortunately, dead for the Dragon here. Should end up going over to the side of CLG, get their first one of the game. And honestly, if they can start stacking the Mountain Drakes, that's going to be really, really good. Because obviously the Assassin Kayn, but then also Vex kind of plays like an Assassin. Where you try to land that ult, go in and blow one person up and keep reset and stuff. If they can stack up the Mountain Drakes, it's going to be really big. Yeah, it's a good point, Reese, where even if you're freezing, Blue Kayn goes sprinting across the map in 5 seconds and just blows you up, and then you're like, alright, well now I lose that 3-stacked wave, so... There he is. Bunga bunga. Nice trade, ults down, gets the kill. Should be able to pick up the turret as well. You do have Kayn and a Mumu moving in, but he's going to drop that very quick, start running away. I don't think Kane's able to one-shot him with that Starex gauge, so should not be in any real danger here. Do not believe Kayn would want that smoke. More like the Riz. Sick, dude. Reese going in for the 1v1. Vix gets the exhaust, but oh, sorry, 1v2. Forgive me. I forgot it was actually Karthus that was going in. 9 stacks on the Darksteel. Nice way to force that from Reese. He's got the cleanse, he's got the the spell shield. He knows he's not really going to get popped, so just forces the play, gets Vix a little low, and then the Karthus nuke. And is probably going to be able to pick up that tier 2, which is a huge 600 gold swing for him. And he's almost cashing on that call, which is just huge. Absolutely they do. Yeah, and this is why it's a little sketchy with also like 191 CS, 191 CS, 190 CS. They're all very close. Oh, one isolated Q just chunking them. And also, if you're running a double AD carry comp, Karthus is super good for the jungle because he loves to be the solo AP threat to make his ult actually useful. So people aren't sacking Maz, and if they're sacking Maz, the double AD carries just shred them. So yeah, Maz, Force of Nature, all that crap. Too often, if you have like 2 or 3 AP threats, Karthus just feels useless. And I mean, he can feel useless if he's the solo AP threat, but if they're building for him, then yeah, your team, unless they're just, you know, don't have hands, your team should be able to do stuff. Tom almost finishing his, actually probably has enough. Yeah, he's definitely more than enough to finish up that Navori when he goes back. Keep that permanent Q uptime. Pulls that Wolf. Wolf never stood a dang chance. Well, if it was anyone that wasn't Darius, I'd say he's screwed, but has the Karthus ult coming out and he's just ghosting out. Goes back in though. The MF ult doesn't quite kill him, he gets the heal. That's okay. I was gonna say, if he ends up dunking on the Amumu, that'd be the most tilting thing in the world. The Sivir ult coming out, trying to catch them up, gets the Q, which gives Sivir a little more move speed. The Ricochet's going, Reese is thangin', flashes backwards, Q's forward, but does get caught by the Vex. A little bit of a flank here, but Tom's going to finish off the turret, and these are the 2 most fed members, so. A turret takes down the Soraka. Liu Kang can't be slowed, flash ulti from the set. Oh, huge damage, does shut down the Karthus, and Vix takes down the Tristana. However, the Karthus is, he's got the aimbot on for those Qs, so does take down the set. I think Set just has to run there, just try to get out of as quick as you can, because you're also taking that E damage, and the Karthus is very fed at this point, so. We got the 4th Drake coming up. Realistically, I would say it should be CLGs with the gold lead and the nice scaling and the item spikes coming in, but you do have Tristana up in 3 seconds of teleport. Karthus dead for another second, no ultimate, so Set isn't here either though, so potentially 4v4 if they don't burn it immediately. Darius might have to go in to just buy some time. He gets a very nice flash pull. He's going to get burst, but he gets the Q healing. Tom in there with the Tristana with the double AD carry is just pumping the damage. Karthus ult coming out now that it is up, and they just clean up the fight. Unfortunately, Set doesn't have teleport, just has to walk there, so he has to watch his team get taken down, and the Drake stack can continue for CLG, who now probably looking to take the Baron. Karthus double AD carry comp, this thing gets shredded. You have Darius to tank it, Soraka to heal. This thing should just, I'd be surprised if it takes more than like 5 seconds. No, maybe not that fast, but I don't know. It's gonna be quick. Oh, well, you see Reese got hit into the air there, so I didn't account for that. But it's pretty close. Taking out some of the jungle camps. You should always be doing this if you're in a position where you're not going to put yourself in harm's way in your head, just deny more and more resources. Let me go ahead and take this essentially freestanding gold into tier 2 here. Karthus is going to look for these wolves. No, he's not. I lied. But yeah, really, gold lead blown up here now with basically 11,500. I'd like to see that Dark Seal turn into a Majai's for, and there it is. Based will. We see the Bloodthirster as well as a stopwatch coming up for Tristana, knowing that basically any of these next fights could be the last one. If they win, they could push in and end, or at least double, triple, and hit. Basically just go from there. But yeah, that Bloodthirster shield and then the stopwatch active is gonna be huge potentially. So like that pickup. However, it's worth pointing out the side of one, they do have their Wombo. They have the Misfortune, they have the Amumu, even Vex a little bit, the Set ultimate. If Kane gets a good, if they're lined up, he can get a good WQ. That's actually a ton of damage if they're lined up for it. So there is ways, though CLG generally plays a pretty smart game. I don't foresee them clumping like that, because that is the one way they lose this now. Though, I mean, it's such an easy thing to just space for a second, and then next thing you know, you're being collapsed on, and, you know, 5-man womboed. Hearth Assault immediately just to start this off. Half shots just about everyone. The ultimate from Amumu stops the Kane ult, or I think it might have even been Kane ulting in, but does end up getting it off on the Amumu. Goes down. Vex goes down. A lot of heals coming out from the Soraka in the Triumph of the Darius, keeping him alive. Vix calling GG, and I think I gotta agree. It looks like it's gonna be a tough one to hold. You do have MF ulti though, so it might be an early call, but they're gonna have a tough time because again that Soraka E can just cancel the ult if you're not careful, and at this point you can just get like 2 cards skewed, or the double 80 carries just swaying on you. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a very well played series from the side of CLG. One was looking good, a little. I didn't love their. In game one, I felt like their draft had and I guess the reason I'm being like hypercritical is because one's traditionally had like incredible drafts, very, very good drafts, and this could also just be a matter of difference of opinion. But I think game one, a little bit too much magic damage, and that kind of hurt them with the Singed getting Force of Nature, as well as the Jarvan, and just being basically unkillable from that point on. And then this game, I think the Kane, and like Ox had said, Devin said in chat, I think the blue Kane was very good for removing that Soraka, potentially. And we saw that a bit more earlier on, but he doesn't provide as much for like that Wombo. And then you picked it very late in the game, which I think is fine, but also I think there could have been better stuff. And again, that's maybe a little like, nitpicky and stuff, but yeah, they've just traditionally had stellar drafts, and I don't think these were bad, but I expect like them to draft get most people, so that's why I'm again maybe a little more strict on them, which maybe isn't fair, but it is what it is. But yeah, really awesome series for both teams. Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks, Andrew. No problem, dude. Yeah, GG's CLG, very well played. And thanks for watching. Later.